koutou. Welcome to our Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board meeting. Today, Wednesday the 10th of May 2023. Welcome to our public forum who are here today. Nice to have you here with us. We're going to start with a karakia, and just a special karakia this morning, remembering the young lad from Whangarei Boys. I'm sure that everybody is aware of the situation, and just want to dedicate our karakia this morning to that young lad from Whangarei Boys, to the school community, to the whānau. Karakia I te ata nei, mea noi tātou, pauhihiri, paurārama, pau o te whakairo, pau o te tangata, pau o te aroha, te pauhihiri nei a tātou, mauri ora ki a tātou, haumi e, hui e, tāki e. Kia ora everybody. So our meeting today starts with our public forum, and we're lucky enough to have 3 people speaking to us in the public forum this morning. And can I just remind you all that you have 5 minutes to deliver what you need to the community board this morning, and then if we have any questions following that, we'll ask you some questions following your kōrero. So we start this morning by welcoming Diane Ruawhare, and Diane is here to talk to us about the drainage in Ngāwha Springs. Morena, Diane. Hi.
I live in O'Hara Street in Ngāwha Springs, and we have, let's say I've got a map here which shows what it was supposed to be, the neighbourhood construction. And the first house in Ngāwha Springs Road, as you go past, there is supposed to be a drainage along the back, the side of the house, because it goes right through to another street called Puya Street. And it's blocked, and it's been hasn't been handled by the council since I don't know when. When I came back from Australia in 2014, the local committee, the ratepayers committee, were trying to get council to look at how the drainage, it goes through a property which is now owned by a housing corp, or rather whoever today, and it goes through their property, and it floods, and the water becomes stagnant later on, and it dries up because it can't run off. And apart from the drainage anyway, we have supposed to have safety regulations out there, fire break right behind the property, so it's sort of an L-shaped area, and supposedly it was Crown land, and then it went DOC and combined with Trop Energy, and no one's helping to sort that out. And we have had a couple of fires at Ngāwha Springs, and now it's overgrown with flax and manuka.
Sorry, Diane, what's overgrown with flax and manuka? The
manuka and, well, gorse, it's
fire break, right.
Yeah. We used to have a lovely one like Lindbark Park football field, but it's not like that now. And very dangerous if it was dry and someone lit a fire at the back. The drainage, they need to get under the road to go down to a storm. I mean, you can see where properties the opposite have got a drain, and it floods, and it's not linking up to go to the storm drainage areas. And it's been there for years, many years.
Okay, questions from the board?
Yeah, I have one question. I'm just looking at the map, and part of the road you mentioned. Is that on the corner? Because it looks like there's a bit of scrub on the corner there, which would drain to the left. Is that on the corner of O'Hara Road as you go up it and around? Linda would know, wouldn't Oh, okay. I can get it later, because I'd like to actually, if you can leave the like to give it to council to go and look at it, because that doesn't seem,
Oops. The houses there, there's no houses there, that's part of the supposed
looks like.
fire break area.
Thank you.
So, who was responsible for the fire break? Yeah. Do you know who was responsible for the fire?
There's been, we had so many different people coming, representing council.
No, I mean, which organisation is it on council land?
Fire break is, well, it's controlled by DOC and Top Energy.
And they haven't, because I'm pretty sure that in between 2016, 2019, I'm pretty sure that fire break was mown and repaired. I mean, like.
Well, it's altered from flat to mounds and Maruko Road on it and drains and all sorts of things.
Okay.
It's a mess.
Diane, can I ask if you've RFS the problem? Have you sent in a request for service to council?
When the water gets stagnant, you know, at the back it stinks, you see, and well, health-wise it's lousy, and then where are our rates money going? Nowhere.
Yes. So have you contacted the council about the matter and raised it
I looked
initially?
at everyone. It's the our ratepayers. They're rather busy at the moment. Couldn't attend, but I decided I will because it's right behind my property.
Yeah, if I can get your phone number or email, if you can leave it with some staff member, then I can follow it up and answer those questions. Make sure the RFS is.
Can I add a comment? Fiona Bannister has dealt directly with the council on that over the past, so she may be able to contact as well.
Yeah, Tanya.
Tanya Harris.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. We're really sorry that that's happening, and I guess yesterday was exceptionally bad for you out there.
Well, it wasn't too bad. The drain outside our property, the two neighbours on the corner of O'Hara and Queer Street, the water went down after the rainy stuff, and but the other drains all the way around, including the house at the down the bend, flooded right up to the floor. So
Yeah.
there used to be a sign there. Unfortunately, we mislaid it years ago, where council had a sign saying, "We're coming here to upgrade, blah blah blah." Never got done.
Okay.
Yep.
All right then. So John will follow up with the RFS. But also just to let you know that Trinity and myself are your Kaikohe representatives on the community board, so feel free to find our numbers and email addresses too and include us in any correspondence. We'd be happy to talk that problem that you're having.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Diane.
Could they contact us, Linda?
Pardon?
I just want to Diane's contact numbers.
Yes, it's here. It's here.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, many thanks, Diane, for coming in and sharing that with us. Our next member of the public to speak on behalf of the Kaikohe business and community is Linda Bracken. Kia ora, Linda.
Kia ora. I'll try and keep it good brief. Just more or less updates, good news. So one of the concerns I've had for me as a resident around Kaikohe is the amount of graffiti. So I've done some anti-graffiti myself, but we're in the progress of a bit of a change of hand, which I'm sure Councillor Busage and Mike will let you know about. We're looking at when it's fine again, there'll be a different team out and about trying to deal with and clean up some of the graffiti on the streets, the power poles, the boxes, wherever it's been occurring. For me, I've followed up when it's been unsavoury and I've just objected to it. Even outside the police station, I've just got the paintbrush and gone and painted it myself. So being active there. From the Business Association, we've got the funding from Proceeds for Crime to look at CCTV cameras. It's progressing, but it's progressing slowly, but with consultation with the local police, so that we're looking at new areas coming in. So we can now say we've got cameras, Mangakatia Road and heading the two entrances into town near cameras that will pick up number plate recognition. So that if you've got people coming from outside the area, the police will see it on their recording system or be alerted in some way that those people are travelling through town. So it also makes it easier to pick it up. We're still finding the right site, the right length for Taiheke Road. The next stage is to cover Memorial Park, and then we're looking at the funding set aside for Lindvard Park, and we'll be doing that with consultation with sports and Sportsville and the rugby side there. What are the best streets that we need to cover to keep people safe? Impressed with the amount of maintenance that's been done on the drainage over the last couple of months. So I've seen the truck out cleaning out some of our drains, and the substantial rain we've had, we haven't had the same extent of flooding in our streets. So it's good to see something positive happening there. There's a little bit to go on, but it is happening there. The Ride for Life. So there's a working group incentive started to look at addressing the issue we have with non-compliance with cars, motorbikes, and even push bikes doing illegal things on our main road, and it's basically unsafe environment. So looking at a positive way to educate and provide different opportunities, realising the restrictions of the police. I think that's enough for me today. So any other questions? Yeah, thank you.
Linda.
Yep.
CCTV.
Yes.
Have you done a privacy impact assessment on either the existing system or the extensions of the system?
No.
No.
So no, it's a hard thing to do because what we lack is the ability to monitor it. So what we're looking at is getting a system that can connect.
No. It wasn't.
But the actual impact is, yes, we have
The impact assessment. So you've actually had somebody perform an impact assessment on the privacy issues surrounding it. Just the impact assessment is something you look at and you assess against the act, right?
Yep. I'm looking at just footage that we get. So it's not general CCTV. The footage that we get only gets to the police station.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You're collecting personal information.
We're policing public areas. We're dealing public areas.
You're still collecting and storing personal information. Okay, so and while the outcome may be what you say, if you haven't had somebody do a privacy impact assessment, you don't know that to be the case because the Privacy Commissioner himself says there's a problem with CCTVs. Okay, and the first problem he says, is that nobody does a privacy impact assessment. So here we are. So
can I invite you to our next meeting that we'll be having with the police and the CCTV camera guys to ask those relevant questions?
Of course you can invite me.
Okay, is that, because it's out of my field.
Give me a call and I'll come in. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's out of my field of.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay,
the cops will know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Any further questions for Linda? And just in regard to the Ride for Life group, Linda, that kind of aligns with the pump track work that's in the long-term plan for the community board, doesn't it?
Yes.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you. And the report for the Bike for Life group will be brought to the which meeting? June meeting.
Yep.
So yeah. Thank you, Linda. Mr. Riley, Kaikohe Street Maintenance. Kia ora, Mr. Riley.
I'm privileged enough to have known a borough council that looked after this town. Of late, street maintenance in Kaikohe is nothing short of abysmal. Even contracts aren't fulfilled properly. Straight over the railway line by the dump, that long grass is part of a contract that is not being observed. Why not? There is nothing wrong. There's nothing hidden in that grass. It should be done. I raised this matter several months ago. Nothing's changed. It's simply not good enough. There was a tree planted in that spot in the main street at one stage. Never been replaced. Why not? A tree dies and it's not replaced. Why not? Little planter boxes, receptacles for rubbish, and stay there for days and days and days. Even trees die and disappear and don't get replaced. When one looks at a town, takes pride in it, one expects that these things be attended to. People look at gutters. They judge a town by the strength and tidiness of its streets, and gutters figure prominently. I didn't have time this morning to go around the back part of town to show you other examples, but they exist and it's not really good enough. 1989, 89 staff members, 2,200, now we're pushing 4. Are we getting value for money? Our town deserves a little bit better in the treatment that it's getting. I'd like to think that my little protest will bear some fruit in the not too distant future.
Kia ora, Mr. Riley. Any questions?
Mr. Riley, thank you for coming along today.
Big pun.
Thank you for coming along today.
Yep.
You're always welcome. Always enjoy seeing you. Hey, what solutions do you think you have to the general malaise that you've raised today? I mean, you've raised it. You must have you must have thought about some solutions.
Go back to Borough Council days. Everything was in-house. Putting things out to contractors, not really good enough. In-house staff membership take pride in the organisation.
So
it's as simple as that.
Okay, so there are 2 things there. There was Borough Council and in-house. Do you think we should go back to a Borough Council?
I would like to think that one day we could do that. We had 6 local authorities formed into one district council, 1989, and I'm not sure that we've got what we looked for.
So would you join a group that might put in a request for reorganisation of local government to bring?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that I have enough stuff in my little back shed of historical stuff that would bear some weight and support for the argument.
Cool. Okay. Maybe you ought to speak to Councillor Busich and I, and maybe we'll put together a project for the secession of Kaikohe from the rest of the district. How's that?
Whatever you need. Good.
Thank you.
Kia ora, Mr. Riley. Can we have those pictures? Thank you, Sean.
Actually, you missed your last one.
Yeah. Thank you. I totally agree with you. I see lots of things similar to what you've photographed there, and it is disappointing. And you know, we say that we're the hub of the north. Well, let's polish up our hub.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, you can.
Linda. Yes. Does the Business Association have the organisational capacity to get trees planted if you had the funds? Those trees.
I'd say yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Riley, for your ongoing commitment to your community and trying to get it polished up, as you said. I know that you've been speaking of the same thing for a long time. Previous to our board.
Just for the record. In about another month, I will have been here 50 years. Maybe we should have a party.
Maybe. 50 trees.
Oh, sorry, that's next month, Sean. That's next month. Is that next month is 50 years?
No, I'm here now 50 years. Because when
Did someone say party?
I think it was about an April date that I took over the farm down below.
Okay. Can we have a chat next meeting? Thank you.
A what?
Okay.
I've got lollies now, go on the lolly.
You want some
And
Councillor,
for that matter, for a
Excuse me.
long, long time, I was the biggest landowner in Kaikohe.
oh. Councillor Rakena, you have your hand raised?
Kia ora, thank you, Chair Rudkin, o tira kia puta katoa ko tuhono mai a ipurangi nei. I just wanted to support Mr. Riley's deputation this morning and saying that, you know, and I'm pretty sure that it's not just in Kaikohe here, but it's the same out of Rawene, Kohu, Opononi, Waimamaku, about the unmaintained areas and the sides of the streets. I mean, down Rangihamama itself, we have the footpath down there is all overgrown. I know that I've submitted RFSs about it. There's always rubbish thrown down there, and contractors do go down there. And what usually frustrates me is that the contractors will pick up that specific rubbish that I've put through for the RFS, but when you're trying to kill two birds with one stone, they don't pick up the rubbish that's in close proximity to it. It's the same with the road down by Limbart, between Limbart and the St. John station, with the big potholes and the sinking road in there. So, you know, you can really see where Mr. Riley's coming from in terms, and these are the back streets that I'm talking about. So if we look at the main street of Kaikohe, it's almost in the same position where it's just quickly deteriorating. So just speaking in support of that, and also his 50th birthday party as well. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Councillor Rakena, nice to have you online with us. Thank you, Mr. Riley. So we have this morning deputation from Kaikohe District Sportsville, and we have Justin Blakey here with Debbie Raphael. So welcome to both of you to give us an update on the Sportsville complex.
Morena koutou.
Morena.
Yeah, nice to see you all. And first of all, I really want to acknowledge the Far North District Council for all of the assistance they've given us for the, you know, our gymnasium and redevelopment project down at Limbart Park. I have to say they have been fantastic. Well, the council has been fantastic. They've gone the extra mile, you know, and found a significant amount of additional funding to address challenges we've had. So, you know, council gets a lot of flack, but I can say my experience is it's been a really good working partnership on this project that we're as well underway. So you can see I've got a presentation up here. My deputation today is really looking at the upcoming long-term plan, and it's entitled An Indoor Heated Pool for Kaikohe. So I'll go to the next slide, please. So the current situation, our understanding is the Northern College pool has passed its use-by date, and to Sportsville's knowledge, it's not able to be repaired and redeveloped to meet the needs of the Kaikohe and Mid-North community. We also understand many schools around the Mid-North are struggling to pay for the, you know, to run their own pools they've got in their schools. And there's also a lot of anecdotal evidence that the swimming ability of our children is diminishing across the Mid-North, which, you know, is a pretty big issue when we're all keen to go out and get kaiwan and go surfing, you know, and so those safety issues there. So just in a bit of an update, there's supposed to be an aquatic facilities report out from Sport Northland, which is going to give a bit of an overview of Tai Tokerau and what the needs are. We've been waiting for that, and if that comes through before the long-term plan, I'll make sure that that comes to the community board so you can see the work that they've done behind that. This is what we understand in our capacity as an organisation that sort of talks to a lot of the community about sporting and recreation. You know, and so as we've been through the building project of the new gymnasium, everyone said, "Where's the pool?" Where's the pool? More people have asked us, where's the pool, than where's the basketball courts? And so that was a surprise in that when they did the Limvart Park Reserve Management Plan, and the council did actually go out and talk to the community. What was there was, an indoor facility was the major need, but that's not what we've actually heard. There's a lot more support for a pool. We also understand the biggest challenge for Kaikohe in the Mid-North is the affordability of running a pool. They are really expensive to operate. So I've been up and had a lot of conversations with the people in Kaikohe that have stood that project up. Mark Osborne's been fantastic up there. He's told me it's going to cost $700,000 a year to run their complex, their heated pool complex. And what I'm saying is that is the key issue for Kaikohe. We're confident we can build a pool. We know how to get funding. It's the operational costs that are the issue with Kaikohe getting a pool. Kaitoa's got an interesting model. They've got a gym next to the pool, and that's going to bring in a significant amount of revenue to offset the costs of the pool. Kaikohe, I don't know if that model would work. It's a brave person would go around and ask these gyms, Trinity, shut your one down and come down to the community gym and give your money to the pool. So that's a good model, but I don't know if it'll work for Kaikohe. Next slide, please. We've done some initial groundworks. The new gymnasium we've built, we've designed that so the toilets down there and the showers, etc., can be used if a pool was tacked onto the side. That would save, that would be a significant saving if the pool was built. Kaitoe have said they'll give us their plans. That's a major saving, and what that will mean is we will know the construction costs, which is a major hurdle to any community project. To get to the point where you can say to the council, we know how much it's going to cost, is a big job. So we can actually, to a degree, cross that one out. We've also had some really good offers of awhi and support from an architectural firm in Auckland who did the work on the brand new gymnasium. They've said they've given us some real good pro bono advice and an offer to help us out with that design element. We've also had positive signals from funders that we've had on board for the gymnasium. Lotteries have said they'll help fund the pool. So, we've already got some good relationships with funders, and we're confident we can again bring in that money to Kaikohe to stand up a building. So next slide, please. So what we want to strongly urge FNDC to engage with Kaikohe in the Mid-North community as to the affordability of indoor heated pool from both the capital and operational perspective. Are you prepared to pay for the running costs? Because that's the big issue. And basically the project will never happen unless those conversations happen. Within that consultation, there's challenges around, Kaikohe has a lot, as you know, a lot of people rent. They're not actually homeowners, so but they will be implicated in paying if there's a rates rise. It'll go onto their rent. So you actually have to go out and consult with the community, not just ratepayers. Our opinion, focus the engagement on, if you want a heated pool, are you prepared to pay for it? Figure out, that's where the heart of the conversation's got to lie. I mean, I'm putting it bluntly, there's nicer ways you can word it, but that's the heart of the matter. We believe, in our experience, if this engagement process doesn't happen in this next round of the LTP, nothing will happen within the next 5 years. I've been in local government myself. The long-term planning process is the key to getting any of these projects up and running. We're very keen to work with the council on this process. We've learnt a huge amount. We've got really good relationships within the council, with funders, with all the professionals, project managers, engineers, you name it, and we want to keep that momentum going. We want to keep that good relationship with the council while we've got momentum. So I've got one more minute. Just before I finish, we're looking also at synergies with the Hauora organisations like Te Hauora Ngāpuhi, Kaikohe-Hokianga, the health. if they can help stand up some of those operational costs, and because it's about well-being, the pool, hydrotherapy, getting our old people up and moving, from, you know, stopping diabetes, all of that. And the last little plug is, I encourage the community board to really look at efficiency in the LTP. I would like to see a trial for going back to a Ministry of Works roading system, where the council owns the trucks, the plants, the engineers, train up young Māori engineers from Ngāpuhi to work in-house and drive efficiencies in roading, and that will help us afford a pool. Okay, I'm being blunt here. You know, I think it's one of the big roading contractors you use, they own the Puketona quarry. They drive metal from Puketona out to jobs in Hokianga when there's quarries in Tahiki and Omanaya. We should own our own quarries. Okay? So that's just a little bit of a plug there at the end, because all these issues are related, affordability.
Kia ora. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, I
Any members have any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Justin, and thank you and Debbie for all the work you've been doing on this new project. I think it's great. Without your dedication, it wouldn't have come to the point it is, and I know how difficult it has been. But just so, if you were to look at the long-term plan, and we know that funding is a big issue at the moment, you know, costs are rising everywhere. What are the key things that you'd want to achieve, say, in the next 3 years? Now, I don't expect you to, with one answer right now you can, but I'd like to actually capture those so that it can come through the community board into the long-term plan. So either now or we'll chase up with you and to work with, you know, with Chicky.
Well, there's two answers to that. It's the engagement process is the first one that I want to have achieved. That is the key. So, you know, we're happy to work with the council. Kaitai's already got a lot of information about the operational costs. Go out and do some thorough engagement to you know, if the community really wants a pool, they must understand the cost associated with that and look at models of how we can reduce the cost of rates increases. The second part of what needs to be achieved in that LTP is the locking in of some of the funding required to do that initial, you know, to get the building to, because what we've learnt, right, you've got to have the designs to basically ready to lodge consent so that you've got an accurate cost. Councils are interested in working on projects when there's risk around and we learned that with Limvar Park. We had the project manager said, oh, you know, you can do this for $9 million. It's $15 million. And we're running around telling the council, oh yeah, we'll build this thing for $10 million. It turns out to be 15. That creates stress, tension, uncertainty, risk. So what we want to see is within the LTP, a concrete process whereby the council and the community has confidence that they've got a de-risk project, they understand all the costs, you know, and then ideally, John, 5 years out, 4 years out, some commitment to capital, you know, because a ballpark figure, if you go by what Kaikohe has done, $4 or $5 million, we might be able to build this pool. So if the council could come up with half, we're very confident we could draw the rest from the funders we've got relationships with.
That wasn't on your presentation though, was it, Justin?
Oh, you know, you've read it correctly, Mike. So, you know, you're just telling the obvious. It wasn't up there. I'm answering the guy's question, Mike.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can send through some more detailed. I also can meet with any members of the community board to help you formulate what you're going to put up to the council with your LTP submission, so it's a bit more clear, John.
Yeah,
what you want to see in place.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. We're currently consulting communities on our strategic plan, so it's really timely that we have those conversations and include your ideas in that strategic plan.
Awesome.
I was just going to say exactly what Whai Chiki said, very, very timely, and also that whole corridor around what you're calling the Ministry of Work style, which I think is what also Mr. Riley has mentioned, and that's come up in corridor with us this morning. We're very aware of it, and we are looking at how to move forward on that. So yeah, I just wanted to
Go for a trial. Okay? If the council doesn't want to see the whole of the Far North go to back to that system, just do a trial in Kaikohe-Hokianga. You know?
Come on.
I don't know the restrictions on this, Justin, but some time ago there was a strategy for the Far North where the council would provide a third of capital costs for pools. I don't know what they did for, maybe you can run that past Mark. So there's a third opposed to your half. The operating expenses, was that the operating deficit or the operating expenses in total that you had $750,000?
700,000. That's the annual operating costs for that facility. So that the actual pool costs might be 600,000. You know, we've got time in the next few months to get the accurate figures to you. So, you know.
Yeah, okay. No, so that could be funded by entry fees as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because if it was to be funded by rates, that would be an extra $150 on every property in the Kaikohe-Hokianga, including North Hokianga.
Yep. Yep.
Justin, have you got any detail around the size of the pool, and would it be a pool that a baby could be in and a 95-year-old?
I encourage you to, if you've got time, just go up and visit Kaikohe. They've got hydrotherapy, they've got toddlers, they've got a proper 6-lane. Right. We want a bombing pool. Kids are not going to pay $1 to come to a pool in Kaikohe unless they can do manu. So our one will be slightly different. You know, we'll have international bombing contest there, which will make a lot of money. So ours will be slightly different, but yeah. Right. Those are the kind of synergies. Kaikohe is keen to help us, and you know, as I said, already taking their plans, that really gets us a lot of the way there because they know the costs. And I appreciate what you said, Mike, but I can help get more accurate figures around those OPEX costs, but we know they're significant. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you, Debbie.
Chicky?
Yes, Mr. Riley. You've got half a minute.
The ideal spot for the swimming pool is the council buys us 2 acres down here. It's been on the go for 25 years. There's a room for a swimming pool, pump track, and a concrete pad for the kids to do their biking. And the beauty of it, the attraction for the swimming pool is no discharge costs because they just open the stop cap and it runs down a Papahawaiki stream, because at that point the stream is 12-15 feet below ground level.
You could put a covered walkway.
There might be a job for you on the council, Mr. Riley. Thank you. Mr. Riley, can I just mention too, for you to check your emails, because I know that Melissa Wood has responded to your RFSs by email yesterday.
My email is not working at the moment.
Oh, okay. Okay. I will.
Mr. Edmonds, check it out for me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Did you bring a laptop?
Thank you to our public forum and deputations this morning. I welcome on stream this morning 2 people who are going to discuss with us their funding applications. The first is Sarah Burren. Sarah, there she is. She's been out catching butterflies. Morena.
Thank you so much for today. I really love listening to your forum, so thank you for allowing that. We are applying. I'm the director of Every Man Productions, the Tangata Kakariki. We have a charitable trust, that's our production company, hence applying under Living in a Trust.
One moment, Sarah. Just a moment, Sarah.
It's a little bit difficult to hear you. We've got the sound at full volume. Can you shuffle just a little bit closer to your microphone, please?
Is that better?
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Morena koutou, shall I start again?
Please do.
I sit here alone, but there are 18 of us who make the work. It's a giant scale glow impact show that we do at the Furnace Centre, and we'd love to apply under Living Theatre Trust, which is the charitable arm of our production company. The show is a giant scale glow impact puppet show that is very magical and very uplifting for summer beauty. We have received some funds through the Creative Beauty Scheme, but that was not quite enough to cover our production costs on this round. Can you hear me okay?
We're still struggling just a little bit. There, if you could just, thank you. I see you shuffle.
Okay. Hence applying to you for some of our production costs today. We've got 18 of us that make the work, like I said, but 8 of us on the road. If we were to receive some funding, we'd be able to gift some tickets to children in and around Kaikohe and Hokianga like we did last year. So that was a very successful time with our Mapari Glow show. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So I just wanted to reiterate that the charitable arm that we have, Living Theatre Trust, we are able to raise some funds through this which underwrite some of our costs, which we're in turn able to give some tickets to Tamariki Far North. The show this year is all about reading being a superpower. So we have an 8-piece caterpillar who started on, and a lot of our performers are in and around Auckland, but we travel the length of New Zealand. So we're going to be at the Furnace Centre on the 20th of June this year. We have babies to 7-year-olds at the target market. So ECE is Kohanga and primary school children. So that would be where some of our tickets would be gifted. Ngā mihi nui for your time.
Thank you, Sarah. Have any members got any questions?
Sorry, Sarah, it was a little bit difficult to hear, but you're saying that you're gifting some tickets, I hear, and how many?
Oh, depends on how much funding we receive. It's all relative, but we'd love to think that we can gift at least 50 to 100 tickets, so that would be 50 to each show. There's one at 10 a.m. and one at 11:30 on the 20th of June.
Further question, member?
So just on behalf of our whānau that live, half an hour to an hour and a half away from Kirikiri Furnace Centre, would there be some way of ensuring that should you get enough money, that ensuring that those tickets would be allocated for the people further away?
What we could do is discuss that potentially with Catherine or a contact at the Furnace Centre like we did last year when we gifted tickets to Matariki. We worked with Old Angels that you'll be familiar with. So we've got fantastic reach into your community.
Thank you.
No further questions? Thank you for your time, Sarah, and your application. Somebody will be in touch with you about your application in the near future.
Okay. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye. Now, our next funding application speaker is Jo Lynch, and I believe Jo is online. There she is, and Jo represents the R. Tucker Thompson application. Kia ora, Jo.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you very much for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all. Yeah, really interesting to hear your speakers before, and thank you for the special mention in the karakia. Very, very nice. I wanted to start by saying thank you very much for the previous support that you've given us to financially support one young person onto our youth development board. We really, really appreciate that. So I put an application in for 2 young people this year. So to give you a very short overview of what we do and our plans that may be quite new that are in development. So we run a youth development program on a tall ship in the Bay of Islands. We take 12 young people out for 7 days to adventure in the Bay. And of course we do lots of activities, sailing and fishing and hiking, but ultimately we are there to develop our youth. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. And so we see profound results from such a short period on the ship because they don't have their phones and they don't know one another. They become very present, they bond together very tightly. We connect with our young people very deeply and we see shifts in their self-esteem, their confidence, their view of themselves and their view of their future. Most consistently, they say, I can do so much more than I ever thought that I could. And so our goal is to grab hold of that feeling and start to lead our young people to employment and education opportunities. So some of our new initiatives, we built a Maritime New Zealand course that helps qualify our young people in a deckhand role and then place them into work in the Bay because the operators are desperate for deckhands. So we took young people, trained them, get them qualified and then place them into jobs with the support of the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs funding. We also work with defence careers, helping our young people into the forces. We run a conservation program in the Bay looking to recover some of the kinnibarrons. And then later in the year, we'll run a joint voyage with the Toki Voyaging Trust with a wakahaurua. So lots of plans afoot, but my application is to send 2 young people from your district onto our 7-day youth development program. Do you have some questions for me?
Okay, thanks, Joe. Any questions? Member Edmonds?
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Just as not to do with your funding, but closely related. The kids who go on these boats or on this trip, do you find that they can already swim, or is that a problem?
So we check that very, very thoroughly. For the most part, they can swim. And that if they are weaker in that area, we will support them. So we have a kind of progression into the water. But for the most part, they can swim. If anything, we're looking at those kind of opportunities for lifelong safety, like wearing your buoyancy aid in a dinghy, no matter what the conditions, no matter where you're going. So we try to plant those seeds around water safety while we've got them for 7 days.
Thank you.
Just one comment, my own niece participated in your program and came away with lifelong friendships, so thoroughly support what you do. So ngā mihi ki a koe. Joe, just a question from me in regards to the 2 people, which, and you mentioned Kaikohe-Hokianga Ward, what particular schools are being asked to put forward candidates and how are they selected?
So we work with the schools, but we also work with the kura and the and different community groups. So a lot of our young people are in alternative education and a lot of kind of work-ready programs. So it's not just schools. And then what we aim to do is work with all of the schools in the far north. So we are in a phase of actually visiting them now. It's been a little bit delayed because of their restrictions on their end around actually just the flooding. So being able to get to them in a time that fits into their year. So we work really closely with the schools, and most often we have a teacher in each school that is a champion for us. So those relationships are really strong, but we also we understand what the schools are managing in-house. So we feel like we're asking a lot of them. So the kids come to us from all sorts of channels, but it's really about the relationships with those networks because they help us to find the kids who will benefit the most. And so that doesn't mean our kids that are maybe in trouble or challenged. It means all types of young people. So the kids that are doing very well can fine-tune their leadership skills. the kids that are really challenged, it provides a whole different opportunity to turn up, not know anybody there, and bring their absolute best self. So hopefully that answers your question. So all of the schools.
What are the age ranges mostly, your age range?
14 to 18, and we've just shifted that to, used to be 13 to 18, because we felt like we could do our best work when they're a little bit more mature. At that 13-year-old stage, you're often just trying to keep them safe and keep their attention. So we're trying to fine-tune that age range to the space where we can make the most impact, because we're starting to have conversations around what are your next steps in terms of employment and education. We want that to be absolutely optimized. So are they thinking about their next steps out of school? 13 is probably a little bit young.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Joe. No further questions. Thank you for your time, and we'll consider your application today.
Thank you, Kaikohe.
Thanks. Okay, we have no further funding application kōrero this morning, so we'll move to our agenda. Page, where are we? Page 6.1. Confirmation of previous minutes. That the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board confirms the minutes of the meeting held 4th of April 2023 is a true and correct record. Do I have a word? Oh, worry. A mover, thank you, Member McVeigh, and a seconder for that motion. I'll be the shaker. Thank you. Member Felia. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? And no abstentions. Thank you. Moving on to page 7.1, item 7.1, reports, the chairperson and members' reports. That the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the reports from Deputy Chair Tanya Felia and Member Jessie McVeigh. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Busich, and a seconder. Thank you, Member Gundry. All those in favour?
If we do, I've
Sorry.
got a question or two I want to ask,
Yes.
and that is with the hydrants. So this was with the hydrants. I'm just wondering, can you explain more what the issue is? Because I may be able to find a group that would be keen to work with
I'm glad you asked that, because there was a call out that attended Manian, where there was a call out that went down, and they couldn't actually access the hydrants. So some of the hydrants down there have been found in GPS, but there are still hydrants that have been partially tar sealed over and actually need full replacements, because they can't use their equipment to actually open them to access it, which is, it was lucky it was not a major call out at Manian, but they couldn't get into the hydrant. And we have a person here at the council that's working with the brigade to do that, but it's just been quite slow. And then they fixed them, and then new tar sealing was done, and it's caused problems. They've not been actually, what is those, the indications haven't been drawn.
The cat size and the markings.
Installed properly, so we'd appreciate that follow-up, please.
Thank you, Councillor. Just something that I'd like to raise too, and just remind everybody about, is the notification of the hearing from the 15th to 19th of May that's been held in Rawene. I know that Member McVeigh and Member Felia have had lots of feedback from councillors and the public about that, so just encouraging people to head along to that way if they can, and thank our members for raising that in their reports. I'd like to move those reports. All those in favour? Against? Who was the second for that? Sure. Member Felia and McVeigh. Okay. We move to page 25 to our funding projects reports. That the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the project reports received from Bay of Islands Hockey Association and Far North Land Search and Rescue. Do I have a mover for those reports? Thank you, Councillor Busich, and seconder Jesse McVeigh, any matters arising? Okay, all those in favour? Aye, against? Thank you. Page 31, funding applications. We'll look at the first application that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approves the sum of $2,500 be paid from the board's community fund account to Living Theatre Company for the Wonderland Glow Show tour to support the following community outcomes: proud, vibrant communities, communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. Do I have a mover for that recommendation?
I'll move that.
Member Felia has moved that. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Member Gundry, thank you. Do we have any matters arising?
Sorry, I'm not sure of the technical process. Please guide me. I would really like it if those free tickets were ensured to be allocated to people from our ward.
That's what that is for.
Okay, it wasn't clear in the application, but I would support it if a significant number, she was talking to 50 to 100, were ensured to go to Kaikohe-Hokianga whānau.
Distribution through our kura would be great.
Yeah, and kohanga.
Put it out that way.
Do you want me to have her contact you to discuss how tickets should be distributed?
That sounds
I don't think that, yes, I agree, Mike. I don't think that that's our role here to make suggestions about how and where the funding should be spent.
Yep.
In terms of my vote, though, that's my
Yes.
my point, because it's from this ward.
Yep. So you will need to make your call on what's in the application.
Not necessarily. You can amend the application, approve the sum of $2,000 to be paid for account for tickets for Kaikohe-Hokianga community people for admission with Wonder Glow Show. You can say that. You can.
Do I propose an amendment?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just want some wording embedded in there, paid from the board community fund.
I just have a comment about that. So if that was so, then we'd also need to add something around the fact that schools need, they've got 4 weeks. All schools have annual plans. All schools will have a budget for EOTC, for instance, and they may not have the funding for the bus to get the children from.
Oh, that's going beyond what we're asking, mate.
No, I don't.
To offer.
All she's asking is that 2,500 we got, okay, is specifically for tickets.
To be offered.
To be offered to the kind of people, right?
So you want to ensure
Yes.
that, I think Jesse wants to ensure that, while it's not, it's not been stated clearly that is going to Kaikohe-Hokianga students. That's
Yes.
essentially what you're trying to do.
Yes. I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is that we get the tickets in Kaikohe-Hokianga and then we don't have the ability to transport the children because of funding. So the tickets essentially aren't being used.
Actually, that's a good point. I'm not voting against this for that reason.
So that's my.
But
that's
these
my
aren't just
concern.
through schools. This is age 0 to 7, so
Yes,
whānau
so-
can go. So they can be offered through the kohanga or play centres or primary schools for whānau who can go. Some people will be able to take a trip. Anyway,
They would,
that's my thought.
and it would be the whānau that have the ability to transport their children, and in my mind, is that targeting the children that I'd like to see sitting at a Wonderland Glow Show?
Aren't we getting a bit much here? So let's not offer anybody just because some people can't. That's ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's equitable.
I'm trying to think of how to make it equitable
Yes,
for our
yes,
whānau,
I know,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I'd rather not lose the opportunity, like the $2,000 is a significant saving surely the schools can organise something with the parents and so on, and then work it out that way. Some may miss out, but at least some will benefit from it all.
Okay, we've had the discussion.
Yeah, that's what we had the discussion, if we stick on to the wording
to
here,
the
or
wording here, or
we add that assurance that it will be for Kaikohe-Hokianga students.
Or offered first.
That's what I did.
okay, we have an amended recommendation here.
So Jesse moved that, I'm happy to second that
Yes,
amendment.
thank you, councillor Visich. So approves the sum of $2,500 be paid from the board's community fund to Living Theatre Company for the Wonderland Glow Show tours, specifically for tickets to be offered to students from Kaikohe-Hokianga ward.
Can we change it to students to residents? It's just a little more inclusive, that's all. I mean, especially if it's 0 to 7, right? When some people might be students in that age.
Yes. Thank you. Member Edmonds. All those in favour of the amended recommendation? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? No.
Yeah, actually, that now becomes a substantive motion.
I'll move it to a substantive motion at the end of it.
Yep.
At the end of the discussion on the application.
Yep.
So we can move on to the next one. Okay, so moving on to the next recommendation, that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approves the sum of $4,000 be paid from the board's placemaking fund account to R. Tucker Thompson Youth Sailing Trust for 2 students from Kaikohe-Hokianga ward to attend a youth sailing to support the following community outcomes: proud, vibrant communities, communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. Do I have a mover for that? Thank you, Member McVeigh, and a seconder. Thank you, Member Felia. Do we have any discussion around that?
How often do they hold these trips? How many times a year?
I feel like it's annually.
So it's just 12 people a year?
I think it's more, but, because I think they often do them through the school holidays.
The regularity has changed since COVID.
Okay.
Any further matters? So we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour?
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, recommendation moved. Our third recommendation, that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approves the sum of $800 be paid from the board's community fund to Rawene Golf Club for Rawene Golf Fun Day to support proud, vibrant communities, communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. Do I have a mover for that? Member Felia, do I have a seconder?
Yep.
Member Gundry. Any discussion around that application for Rawene Golf Club? Okay, put that to the vote. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions?
Now, before you carry on, Chicky.
Yes.
Given that you did this in parts rather than as presented, it makes what I've got about to say kind of not an amendment, but a new motion. But hey, it's still in the case. I'd like to allocate $1,000 to the refund of those dead trees that Sean was talking about to the Kaikohe Business Association. Do that upon receipt of an application for them. I've got the wording. Is that on your screen now?
You might want to shift the image of.
Has everybody had a chance to read that fund, that we fund from its placemaking fund up to $1,000 for the planting of trees to replace those that have died in the footpath receptacles in Kaikohe, to be automatically paid without further resolution to the Kaikohe Business Association upon receipt of an application, and to waive any requirement for the association to provide funds of its own to match.
Yep, I move that.
You move that, get stuff, member. Thank you. We have a second, Member McVeigh, and we have a question.
Awesome. A clarification, perhaps. Because we need to look at the reasons why the trees might not have been replaced already. Maybe there's a policy that states they can't be. And what we would suggest is, can you please leave this until next month so that we can do some background and come back to you before you put this resolution to the board.
Thank you.
So, for example, the ongoing maintenance of the trees and the upkeep is that council's responsibility, is that Kaikohe's Business Association's responsibility. If it is now council's responsibility, it needs to be included in the levels of service. So while it's an honourable thing to do, and definitely the right thing to do, I don't disagree with that. If you could just provide us with a month so we can make sure that all that background work is completed as well.
Okay, then I'll restate that. The Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board signals its intention to fund, okay, and then at the end, subject to advice from staff at our June meeting.
Perfect. So you're moving that, Mike, and we have two members of those seconding that.
I was just seeing where the photo, oh sorry, I was just gonna ask where the photos were that Sean wrote me for. I'm not sure. One of these looks like it might have been blocking the way of the pedestrian. Not sure why it might have been cut down, but some reference on that might be good, like why that was cut down, because it looks like it's just right in front of the pedestrian, and we know that it's quite unsafe going through town, that might be the reason. And then maybe if there's other spaces, if there was funding allocated for trees to be planted elsewhere.
I think with the staff recommendation, I think Kim, you would consider that.
Yes, so through the chair, it would include things like making sure that that 1.2 metres is accessible. Also, you know, what else is in the area. So I will work with district facilities to make sure that we're meeting all standards.
I like what you did just then, because now we feel like we're in a space that we're actually going to see a bit of action around what's community asking for. So thank you for doing that. Yeah.
Any further queries?
One last comment, included in that report, can they ensure that it's the correct type of trees? Like it, not only, I mean, I always have a preference for native trees, but trees that can survive those kind of conditions, because sometimes it's not.
And won't grow and destroy the West Bank, for example.
Yeah, they're suitable for the environment.
Aye.
You don't want a pine tree.
Aye. All those in favour?
It'll grow.
Maybe in the month, Jesse, you know, all artists, maybe we put a art tree there from somebody around who builds it.
Sash is in Kaikohe, she can build you a beautiful tree.
All right, ka pai. We have our motion on the floor. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? No abstentions. Ka pai. Well done, Linda Edmonds. That's a really nice gesture. How's that, Mr. Riley? Does that put a smile on your dial?
Still here, Mr. Riley.
Great.
Shows
Thank you for
that
that.
it can be effective, doesn't it?
That's right. Yep, you're right. Thank you, Mr. Riley and Member Edmonds. So moving on to wherever we're going next. Where are we going? Page. Information reports. Application. Probably up to page 60. Statement of community board. Okay. All right, we're on page 60, item 8.1, Kaikohe-Hokianga Statement of Community Board Fund Accounts as at the 30th of March 2023. We have a recommendation that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receives a report, Kaikohe-Hokianga Statement of Community Board Fund Account as at 31st of March 2023. Do I have a mover for that report?
Right.
Thank you, Councillor Vusic, and a seconder.
I feel like I'm doing a lot, sure.
I think I'm just naturally turning to my right, and thank you to see your hand raised. Any matters arising from that report or any discussion around that? Member Edmonds.
So, at the next meeting, we're going to figure out what to do with all of the remaining funds, aren't we, Catherine? And so we need to have, I guess, discuss that beforehand. You know, what kind of things can we put aside or fund? And I'd just like to, I guess, foreshadow a suggestion I'm going to make, and that is Kaikohe has on the radar for 1 million years now a request for a path between Kaikohe itself and the ferry. Now, my gut feeling is it's going to cost $23 million that's going to be done. But as long as we don't know, then Kaikohe is going to be is going to consider themselves hard otherwise because they don't have a path. I mean, if it comes back at $23 million, they may say, oh my goodness, how are we going to do that? If it comes back at $50,000, they'll say, well, why can't we have it? So I'm going to suggest that we put aside some money for that investigation to find out, really what's it going to take for a path, and that will also give us an indication for future community boards whether or not they should be fighting for it in the long term. So that's what I'm going to suggest that we do with some of the money next time.
And actually, I had similar thoughts, not so much specifically on that, but along the same vein, probably more general than that, is with the community board strategic plan, as Mike has done previously, is some of that fund was put aside for projects within our strategic plan, and so that gave us the flexibility to decide how that's going to be utilised. That's an example, because that's in our strategic plan, but it could actually be.
You've got a few other examples.
My thinking around that is that's an awesome idea. I'd just like us to have some time to think about what the areas we'd like to add to and include in for our next meeting.
Now, I sent something around, you know, others, you're probably aware of what Kaikohe's done in the strategic plan, and some of the North Hokianga, which I'll talk about later about, and you know, focusing on that, getting that actually happening so we get into a long-term plan. It's money well spent because we've got to pay for food and water, fire and whatever else in those areas.
Yes.
Through the chair, was that a push-added amendment for this?
Oh, yeah, no, you don't need to put it in any documentation, just so
just
that
a discussion.
And it's something we did, I think 2 years ago or 1 year ago for the a path out of Kaikohe up to Napa from here. We said we're going to put a few $1,000 aside to be able to plan and get prices so they can go into a long-term plan in the future. So hopefully that's still on.
That's right. That's a really good thought.
So if I understand it, you're just you're both prompting us to think about allocating that placemaking fund, because as I learnt this morning, that needs to be tagged to something, otherwise we lose it.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but we've got a month to think about it, and we're getting our feedback on our strategic plan at this time. So I would be reluctant to pin it onto something right now.
Oh, no, absolutely.
That's right.
That wasn't the point. It's just that, and I think our first year, well, my first year in the community board, this was thrust upon us at the end of our June meeting. You know, now what do we do? So we had to rush around and actually have another meeting before the end of the year. Was to solely answer that question, which is kind of useless because it happens every year, so we should know.
Yeah, so a workshop may be in order just to.
I think that's
to clarify that.
To determine the areas that we want to include in
to prioritise
for that next meeting to use that placemaking funding. All right. And organise that workshop, please, Marlema. That would be awesome. And that would need to be prior to our next meeting, rather than on the morning of, wouldn't it?
All right.
All right.
No, how long do we need?
Might be a little while. We might have different ideas about our priorities.
And can we also have, I guess this is you, Catherine, I know that we are always a month behind in our funding report.
Yeah, and if you looked at your supporting information on the very first page, that document that John looked at, that is the up-to-date one.
Can we space it out a bit so that
on the first page?
I'll put grid lines in it next month because that makes it easier. Yeah, because I look at it online and I've got grid lines. Sorry about that.
It's on here. This one.
That's
First
one
page
of
of the funding application. Edmonds.
Okay, what wasn't in the email? Cool. Okay, thank you.
Would somebody like to put some words together around the workshop, the specifics of the workshop that we're requesting?
Yeah, I think it's just
provide opportunity to discuss and prioritise
the allocation
of remaining
placemaking funds going forward.
And if you start at 11 o'clock, that means you'll probably run into lunch, which means the money will probably provide lunch. So if you start at 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll probably if she'll say, oh, you probably won't run in the lane.
He knows all the tricks.
I see your priority.
I was
I like it.
Okay. So now I've forgotten where we are, but I believe that we've moved to the recommendation.
He's joking.
Yes, we need a,
We need
we have a mover and a seconder, we need to be carried, Madam Chair.
And the motion for my benefit is the report, isn't it? The financial report?
Yes.
The statement? Okay, all those in favour?
Aye.
Any against? Okay, carried.
Madam Chair, could I interject for a second? We moved an amendment in the funding application and we didn't move the substantive motion.
Oh, okay. Do we have a move for the substantive motion? Councillor Vusic, a seconder for that? Okay, all those in favour? Aye.
Thank you. Apologies.
Okay. Page 67. Owe, and we're on item number 9 on our agenda. Karakia whakamutinga. Yeah. No, one more little bit. Hey here. Oh, outstanding. Where's my action sheet? I have got no action. Oh, here we go. Yes. Right. Okay. Page, that is 1 of 1, outstanding actions report. Resolution, the amendment became the substantive motion, resolution 2023 bar 5. Where am I reading? Down here. Right, hang on. I'll just get the right page. One page back. Here we go, sorry. Recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receive the report Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board Action Sheet Update April 2023. Mover, thank you, Councillor Vusic, and thank you, Member Edwards. Lovely federal jumper caught my eye. Any discussion around that report, the actions report?
Can I just ask that that be raised at the June meeting so we can get some movement on that? Because there's a few other things that have been floating around in regards to that, that would like to just get that.
The naming of
forward.
this phase. Happy to bring it back to the table in June.
Thank you so much.
Question, is that not reliant on NTA to do something, or are you wanting to prompt them?
Weren't they prompted last month?
They have been prompted.
But it's the person that's.
They have not replaced the report writer, the person in charge of that section, but it can be brought back to the table, and I can ask NTA to attend to speak.
Because that was the 27th of April,
It's just
wasn't it?
moving.
It's just a long time away. Yeah, okay.
So at the last meeting, I asked you to pass along the message with some emotional sentiment. So was the emotional sentiment passed along as well?
It was. I won't say that it was the reason why the last person left, but it was passed along, and the new NTA team have picked it up, but we haven't had a response yet.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. Right, no further discussion around that. I'll move that recommendation. All those in favour? Aye. Already done. Halfway. Okay, and we move to action sheet. Karakia whakamutinga. Kei a koe, Gundry.
Tata maanga tupu minga ne rupuno mata maanga te tuku mai ane ak nei ai.
Kia ora. Thank you everybody for your attendance.